Greetings, everybody. Hello, welcome to our webinar today. We're so excited to bring to you True Agents of Change. Hubert has joined us, of course, like always, from Canada.
Good morning.
Hey, Hubert, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good. Hubert and I, as well as there's a few people here, Debbie and Brittany, we all got back from the Global Leadership Summit. I just got back yesterday. I did a little island hopping, and last week was a very productive week. It was filled with great sessions, and I was honored to finalize the conference and leave them with a challenge, which I like to do because I myself like to be challenged. So Hubert, is there anything you'd like to add about last week?
Oh my God, the last week was so packed, so many things we learned. It was a good week, and I think the legacy is ready to be kicked off. We're ready to run, and everyone, I think it was a good time to spend with our brothers and sisters to catch up with what everyone is doing, and actually to know what we have to focus on and what we don't have to be focusing on now. So everything is good now.
Yes, good. All right. Well, today I want to get right into it because we have, I really wanted to discuss current events at times, and this is quite a large current event that affects everybody around the globe. So we're going to get right into it. Therefore, we're going to be discussing the kingdom response to terrorism. Now, what I want to make you aware of is when Dr. Myles Munroe was alive, it was so nice to be able to go to him and get his input or his opinion on different things, and this would be one of them. I remember when I sat with him in Peru last year, and the missile that was in the Ukraine, they assumed it was Russian, blew down a passenger airline, a commercial airline, thinking it may be cargo supplies for their opposition. And so it was at that time that he was talking to me a lot about globalization and the issues and how they affect us all. And a few months later, I was in a private meeting he was having with Diego and his friend from Colombia. So Diego was translating, and I was able to take notes. And so what I'm doing is I put together even notes going back to 2010, and we are just going to really respond and give some insight, not too technical about the specifics what's going on. Everybody has a general idea, so we're not going to be bogged down with that, because number one, we don't live in fear. Terrorism thrives on fear. The word terror itself indicates that. And so as kingdom citizens, we don't live with that fear. So we're not going to focus detail specifics about what's happened, but we are going to generally address what is going on. For the men of Issachar, understood the times, and they knew what to do. So that's what we want to address. And now I'm like, gosh, Papa's not here to talk to you about it. So I went through all my notes, got everything together. Someone has to address these things. And so I hope this brings a lot of clarity and direction for you, and not confusion or fear whatsoever. If you are not a kingdom citizen, like a lot of people in the world, they do live in fear. And the media hypes that up also. So it's constantly being bombarded with the fear factors, which are very real, but thank goodness we've tapped into another government, another kingdom, another country, and we don't live or think or have the mentality that the masses do. So we're going to, oh, I forgot. I had one thing to announce today, and I hope it's all ready, right? Course 2 and 3? Okay, I thought so. We finally have finished and completed and are launching courses 2 and 3 today, which covers the power and potential of purpose, and course 3 is vision. So in detail, here's the course units or modules: Power of Potential, Pinpointing Your Purpose, and then course 3 really gets into the details of vision. You can see them listed here. But I made course 2 very simple for a reason. Your potential and your purpose is not complicated. So I didn't want to overwhelm and bombard everybody with just a bunch of information. Make it very simple. You have homework, you have handouts, you have discussion rooms, and you will be able to address these things that way. It's available as of today, and I just wanted to be able to show that to you. Here is the actual screenshot itself of the page. So if you go to tristasue.com, the link is on my website, or you can go to agentsofchange.tristasue.com. I'll put that up there at the very top, so well, you can't see it. But anyway, there's the course library. So you can see the 3 levels that are available now. And what I love about e-learning is it's according to your time schedule, your demand, what you have time for. You can watch it on your iPhone, your iPad, any device. And we actually, I'm very excited, we are now in the process of translating this into French and Creole. Haiti wants this information at the end of November to put it on the airways. And then we have some other things in development also in other languages being developed based on this curriculum. So that is very exciting. One thing that I do want to note, a principle that I have learned, which is very powerful, and we saw it firsthand last week. When you are implementing your vision, it really takes faith to prepare for it. That's the ultimate and highest form of faith, is preparation. Then when you've prepared it and you have something to present the people, you will not believe the doors and opportunities that open for you, and God will take what you have spent time, money, effort, your creativity, your skills on, your giftings on, and He will then promote it. Not only promote it, but He'll be able to utilize it in different mediums that you perhaps never even thought of. But if we had not prepared certain things and have them available, the opportunities would pass us by and people are unaware of it. So I remember Dr. Myles always saying, share the vision with the right people. And we just announced this at the conference, and you won't believe the opportunities that God is opening for us just because the work we have done. And so it's very exciting. So I really wanted to encourage you with that. Whatever it is, continue preparing for it. You may not see, okay, I don't know how it's going to be used. Your job is to prepare it, implement it, right, and have something. For instance, we have a book for the youth, the School of Influence for the Next Generation, and the team is preparing and working hard on this. It's like in a magazine format, as you can see, and a lot of contributors. And so it's for the youth, ages roughly 10 to 18, and they're able to also online have discussions and mentorship. So this is all in the works also. And we are getting so many requests to use this in the school systems, to use this as part of mentorship in other people's programs and organizations that they're doing. And so it's just absolutely amazing. So I just want to encourage you, continue doing the hard work and preparing and executing your vision. And then once it's done and done in excellence, God will then just catapult it. Because number one, this is His message. Number two, you are the vessel that He needs to get it incorporated in the systems of the earth. And number three, He'll make sure that He opens doors to get His message out there. So I really wanted to encourage you in this. You may not have all the answers now to your vision, but your job is to do what you know to do. Okay, I've talked long enough about that. Let's get right into it, okay? The first thing that I want to point out is if things like this were, things like what happened in Paris and Beirut in the Sinai Desert 2 weeks ago, when current events happen like this and I was religious, I used to think, okay, the end is coming. This is proof it's coming any minute. Thank goodness I know better. So I really wanted to address this at the very beginning in case anybody had that mentality. I want for you to read and read for yourself what Jesus said regarding these current events. So Jesus was sitting at the Mount of Olives, and the disciples came to him privately. They said, "Tell us, when will this happen, and what sign of your coming? What will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" This age, okay? And Jesus answered, "Watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah, and they will deceive many. You will hear wars. You will hear rumors of wars, which we already seen. But see to it that you are not alarmed." You see, he's saying you don't live in fear. Don't let this distress you. Don't be stressed out. These things must happen. But the end is still to come. It's not the end yet. He's like, wait for it. It's not here yet. Nation will rise against nation. Now, if you are not aware, the terrorist group is claiming to be an Islamic nation. Whether they are recognized as it or not is a whole nother issue. So nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines, earthquakes in various places, which we see on a daily basis. All of these are just the beginning, not the end of the birthing pains, but the beginning of them. Then he says, you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, which we see. This is happening a lot, especially in the Middle East. And you'll be hated by all nations because of me. We are seeing this, hate groups. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate one another. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. People become numb. We see numbness in the terrorist groups. Okay? They are numb. They don't care about others. They don't care about themselves. But the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. And then Jesus very specifically lets us know that this gospel, he's specifically addressing one gospel. He's not talking about the gospel of Calvary, blood, faith, grace. He says this gospel of the kingdom, a very specific gospel, will be preached in the whole world as a testimony. That's key there. As proof to all nations about this kingdom. And then the end will come. So in essence, the terrorists do not determine the end. A famine, crisis, earthquakes do not determine the end. Jesus is very specific. Who and what determines the end? When this message is taught to all the nations, then the end will come. So God is waiting for us to get the right message, because there's a lot of messages out there. We could spend an hour talking about the other messages, the other gospels. But once this specific message is taught to all the nations, that's when the end will come. So in essence, we have our work cut out for us. It was nice. We had Dr. Myles Munroe going all over the globe, teaching the message, doing all the hard work, and training us. Now it is left up to us who understand the message and understand our obligation and our mandate to the King to get the correct message out. Hubert, would you like to add anything to this?
I think what you just stressed is very key, because, as you said, many religious people will jump on this and start saying, they will start packing their bags because they think the end is coming, and they say, yeah, you see the walls everywhere. And you used a very good scripture, because it explains that Jesus said, all of this will happen, but it's not yet the end. So as Trista said, just at this time, that's why I think Trista wanted us to have this conversation today, because we have to address this, what is happening now, and the kingdom response to it is not to be alarmed, is not to be to be fearful. It's to understand the times and plan. Because when you don't plan to succeed, you're planning to fail. So it's a good time for kingdom citizens to understand and to plan for what is coming, because something is coming.
Absolutely, something is coming, and it will not be a surprise to us. So here's where I want to start talking about the 4 problems and solutions of the world, what we are facing in our lifetime. Here's the 4 problems, the root of all problems. Number 1 is spiritual oppression. Number 2, which is a big one, is civil problems. This is what we're discussing today. These are human rights, civil issues. Number 3, there's moral confusion. A lot of this is identity confusion. We see this on a rampant page, but morally, people are not living to the standards even that their fathers or forefathers taught them, or what they are in the Bible. And number 4, social decay. There's corruption in every area of life. People are using intellectual darkness, trying to justify stupidity with ignorance. I'll give you an example, and this is not what this session is about today, but the gay rights movement is trying to justify the extermination of humanity with their intellect. You cannot procreate if you live with that lifestyle. So they're justifying it stupidly with their ignorance. Okay, that's just one example. But that's why we have to vote leaders into positions that do have the right answers, do have morals, are not confused about issues. Okay, so now let's look at the 4 solutions of the world. We looked at the problems, now let's look at the 4 solutions. Number 1, we are living in darkness. That's why Jesus called us light. Our job is to expose things. He says, let your light shine before all men. In other words, and in Hebrew, we know that light means knowledge. Okay, now this is key. We bring knowledge to the systems. We bring awareness. We bring the answers. We bring the solutions. Now the world is bankrupt of answers and solutions. They're not sure what to do about a lot of things that are going on. I saw something come across a news feed. A lot of people are talking about impeaching Obama because he's so soft on issues. He doesn't stand for much. And so, people are disheartened with our current leadership. Whereas kingdom citizens, you are called to be the light, knowledge, and bring solutions to the systems. Number 2, the second solution of decay is salt. That's why Jesus called us, we are the salt of the earth. We preserve things. We preserve the earth. He says, if you become the light, then you'll preserve the land. Salt is used for tanning, leather, dyeing, bleaching. It preserves things, okay? Keeps them in the right state. Now, salt, you never hear working. Light, you never hear it either. It just quietly does its work, okay? And number 3, Dr. Myles talked about descent. Everything is going backwards. Descending backwards to a state of corruption, to a state of where there is not a lot of answers, but whereas that's what yeast does. It brings things back to life. And it only takes a little bit. Remember, Jesus talked about that quite a bit. You're the yeast. It's just a little bit, and that's a whole nother session within itself. The 4th issue we're having is destruction all around us. And that's where the seed comes into play. Though it's the smallest, yet it eventually becomes the largest tree. The plant itself turns into a bush, then a tree, and it takes over an entire garden, an entire area. And that is very conducive to everything that Jesus instructed us to be. So you don't have to go in and try to impose yourself or try to bring destruction like a lot of these people do. but we go in very quietly and we influence. And that's the key to all 4 solutions, is influence. Once light shows up, it exposes everything and darkness has to go. That's how powerful we are to be as kingdom citizens, because we do have the answers. We do have the solutions that the world needs. Now I want to talk about real quick the process of kingdom influence, how we are to influence. We engage, we participate, and become involved in the systems. Whatever area you're called to, according to your gifting, you are called to bring change to. That can be school systems. That can be, I know some of you are working in the sex slave trade area. That's a big area. I've done a lot of research this weekend just on that. And 20 to 40 million people are suffering in this. And that is also part of what is supporting these terrorist groups also. Okay? So we are to engage and become involved in the systems. We can't just stay huddled anymore in our own little world. Integration, intermix amongst other people and groups that were previously segregated. There's no segregation in the kingdom of God. We're all humans, all made in the image. Thirdly, infiltration. Enter or gain access. You permeate or become part of. If you're a business person, your job is to get into the systems of the business world, in your community, whatever that is, okay? If you are in politics, if you're a school teacher, it doesn't matter what area that your gifting is in. You are all called to be part of it and infiltrate it. And then you bring your ideas in into it when they are bankrupt of the answers, which is the case now, okay? And then fourthly, impact. And I added the word strategic here, to impact strategically. And I think we may do our next session on how to do this and how to influence in the marketplace without offending. This is a skill and we all have to be trained in it. So we don't offend people. We go in strategically and impact it with our life vision, according to our gifting, and then they won't shut down on you. Now remember, titles are for the local community, not for the world. So when you show up on the scene, you don't have to tell them, hey, I'm apostle so-and-so, or I'm a prophetess. Please don't do that. We're going to do an entire session on that. Hubert, would you like to add anything before I move on to the next segment?
I think you just nailed it, because for the last part, sometimes we think that when you use a title, that's what gives you influence. It's the content, as Trista said. When you infiltrate, you bring solutions. It's those solutions you bring that will give you influence, not the title you carry. Because some people have positions and all of that, but they don't have influence. Influence is key. And influence, you're going to gain influence because of the solution you're bringing in. So that was very good to stress that, because sometimes we don't understand the position we occupy in the community with the position you will be in when you go outside in the world. When you go in the world, you don't go there with a big cross on your chest and all of that. That is not influence. That is not how yeast works. Trista said that you don't hear light, you don't hear noise, it making noise. It's quiet. So that's very good to stress on that, because sometimes we just do things because we don't know. It's not people, they just want to do it, but sometimes it's very good to stress on that. And thank you, Trista, for bringing that out, because some people, they mess it up.
Yes, they do mess it up. I can tell some stories, but we won't. All right, this next segment, we are going to now specifically address evil, what is going on, and so we can all have a proper understanding of it. The first issue I want to bring to light is that any human that tries to control your will is completely out of order. And this is exactly what is happening today. We are seeing it on a wider scale. This is their goal. I watch the video feeds. Submit to Allah, surrender, you know, that's their goal, or trying to control your will. That is of not God, and it is demonic. So what is going to happen, and it's interesting, I even saw it happen last night on TV. God is going to bring humanity to depression through these incidences, through these events that are happening. They're going to be empty. Jesus calls it spiritual poverty. He blessed the spiritually poor. They are bankrupt. They have nothing else. Nothing is working around them. They don't have the answers. They're looking for answers. So God will use these events to get it gets people's attention. And I saw this last night. I was watching, The Voice was on, and an amazing singer got on, and he sang a cappella. He had his piano, so it wasn't a cappella, but he sang with his piano, "Great is thy faithfulness." And trust me, the response afterwards, even from the judges and the rock singers and the country singers, Pharrell was on there, everybody, they were like, it has been so heavy these past 3 days, and this song gave us hope. And they use the keyword hope. People are looking for hope because they feel hopeless. They live in fear. What if, you know, you should have seen the police that they rolled out in New York City yesterday. They added 500 police to the streets, armed just for terrorism. You should have seen the concave that came through with 500 police. You can find it online. It was on the news yesterday. They've been preparing for this. They just happened to launch it yesterday, right after these events in Paris. So now it kind of reminds me of going to Israel. Everywhere you go, there's armed guards with their machine guns ready at any minute, because they are prepared for terrorists. They're used to it. Now we're seeing that happening in our big cities, in New York City, even in America. So that's all they know to do, arm ourselves, because they're coming to get us. That's the best solution they can come up with. So when people become spiritually bankrupt and are looking for the answers, looking for solutions, this happened to a lot of people at 9/11 also. It really got their attention. That's our job, is to present a different culture, a different philosophy, a different government, a different country. The kingdom of God has arrived, and you don't have to live in fear. So Jesus was very clear. All humans are merchants. Everybody's looking for the pearl. Everybody is looking for the treasure. Everybody is looking for what they lost. And at times like this, that's when they really look the most. So that is our opportunity to respond to it also. Now, I'm going to go directly into my notes that I took at one of the sessions with Dr. Myles, and I want you to see them so you understand. He said, and this was last year, this was in August of last year. He said, you never negotiate with evil. You never surrender to injustice. God told Saul in the Old Testament, go fight them. They are pagans. They worship false gods. And he said, just go kill everybody. He never said to negotiate with them. Because when it comes to correcting evil, you don't counsel it or negotiate it. It's impossible. I lost you. Rebels are a cancer. Therefore, you cannot negotiate with them. And then he went into how cancer feeds on your body. So you can never leave a cancer in the body. It will eat it up. That's why they call it terminal. And they do radical surgery. So he said, in essence, you can never negotiate with evil. You can only cut it out and kill it. You don't mess around with cancer. And that's what he was equating these groups as, a cancer. And then he went into details about how there will never be peace in the Middle East. And he said he studied the 10 tenets of the Quran. And he went into depth with 2 of them. The tenets of the Quran is their foundational pillars, their belief system. One of them is, if the enemy is stronger than you, then you make friends with them until you are stronger than them. That's why Israel is adamant. You cannot negotiate with Muslims. All they are doing is just saying you're stronger than them. That's all they're doing. They're no fool. And then the second, which is a very important tenet, and this will help you understand their mentality a little bit. They believe any land that they own at any time belongs to them, Allah forever. And that is why they are here. That is their lifelong obligation. Their mandate, in essence, is to get the land back. We used to own it, and we have to get it back for Allah. That is their goal. They are currently, as of November 1st, currently occupying 12 nations. That is their goal, is to occupy, take over territory. It's all about land. No. So this will help you understand their belief system, the core of their belief system. All this land belongs to Allah. You know, that's what most of the religious wars are over. They're all fighting over the rock, the dome in Jerusalem. We once owned it. It belongs to us, and we will spend our life and sacrifice our life to get this land back. So in essence, we all know they want all infidels to be eliminated. That is their goal. In essence, they do not want anybody that does not believe like them to exist. You cannot negotiate with a group of people like that. There is no negotiation. And that's why Israel is very adamant about the issues that they're dealing with. They're surrounded by people who want them to stop existing. They want to drive them into the sea. Okay? You cannot negotiate with these people. It's impossible. So here's the final 3 conclusions that Dr. Myles came up with. He said, number 1, you have to define the enemy, which we have done. We know who they are. We've labeled them. They are called terrorists. Number 2, he said, there are therefore no grounds for negotiation with this group of people, which is a stance that the United States also does take for decades. We don't negotiate with terrorists. Okay, so 1 and 2 we got down. Number 3, either they surrender or you make them surrender. That's how you deal with these people. That's what we are left with. So in the meantime, let me see if I got this. There we go. So what we have to do is we have an understanding of their belief system. You have an understanding, you cannot negotiate with them. Number 1, they want all infidels eliminated from the face of the earth, and they want their land back. And thirdly, like Dr. Myles said, their number 1 goal is to be friends with their enemy until they are stronger than them. Okay? So I hope this brings clarity to you about their mentality. Because in essence, they're, you know, I've heard people on the news stream, they're psychotic, they make no sense. You can't even, I don't understand their reasoning. So how can you reason with people that make no sense? So I wanted to just kind of lay the groundwork, their true belief system. Hubert, why don't you add to this before we go to the next segment?
Yeah, I'm sorry, my camera is off, but I would try just to use the audio. What Trista said is very key, because when we don't understand their mindset, how these people think, and you think, well, we can sit down and reason with them, that's when you miss it. And she said something, we have first to define who they are, because the definition we give to them will then determine the response we will give to them. And this is very important to understand. As kingdom citizens, we have to understand what is going around us. We can't just hide our heads in the sand and think everything will be fine. We have to be, to understand that these people, their understanding and their thinking is, I will kill you before you kill me. They are not there to negotiate with you. They are not there to say, you know, because as Trista said, some people try to understand, oh, how these people, you know, these guys want the how do you call it? Their base is in Belgium, and the area where their base is, I live there in the same neighborhood. So it was very interesting to see the streets where I used to walk. These same people used to live there, and it was very it was troubling for me because they were asking the neighbors, how did these people come to change out of this? People who were normal, people thought they were normal. One day they say they didn't see it coming. Do you know why? Because I think Westerners, we are kind of asleep. We think Islam is, you know, it's a good thing. Or and it was funny because they said it was nothing a big deal for them, but these guys had some cases, either using fake documents. But our system look at someone like that and they think, oh, they are fine. Someone who is already involved in those kind of things. And because of their mindset, of the Islamic mindset, then one day they shift without us seeing it. It was very sad to me because all of these people, the government of France already had a case on them. But because they didn't define them properly, they didn't see it coming. If we keep doing that, we will keep seeing those kind of things because these people, they are among us. But when we don't define them properly as they are, then they will hit you and you will be crying, saying, how did this happen? It happened because you didn't assess well who they were. Trista said you have to define them and then deal with them as you define them. If you misdefine them, then your response will be weak. When you say, like the president of France said, it's a war, it's not. Because you're not fighting with people of the same mindset. With people, when you are in a war, you can negotiate with your enemy. These people are not there to negotiate. 3 of them blow themselves without even casualties. What is that? These people, they are coming to kill you. They are not coming to negotiate with you. So it's very key to understand, we as kingdom citizens, it's our responsibility to understand what's happening around us, and when you get a chance to be in a position to give your voice, we have to know what to say. We have to understand and give a proper understanding. So it's very key to follow the 4 steps, the 4 points Trista said. Awesome. Because once we got that right, I'm not going to say terrorism will be eradicated, but at least we will know how to deal with it.
Yes, and that's one thing I want to pinpoint or bring to light is God never negotiated with the enemy of the Israelites. He says, go kill them. If you don't, they will marry your sons and your daughters, and they will infiltrate, and their goal is to eliminate you. Okay? So that is exactly the same thing that we're seeing now. And now the next segment that I want to address as we finalize the last few slides here is the goal and our response. How do we as kingdom citizens properly engage and address what is our course of action? What are you supposed to do now? Well, nothing's changed. You're supposed to be doing this all along, but we were trained by Dr. Myles Munroe with the right mentality, the right message, and his goal was to create a new breed of person. And what I mean by that is to renew our thinking with the original thinking that Adam had, okay? Because we lost that. We've been ingrained with Greek philosophy. We've been ingrained with religious ideologies. And it's very important that we understand who we are and what our job here is. Now, the enemy, they know who they are. They know what they want to do. Okay, they have their mandate according to Allah, what they are to do. And they are 100% all out, going all out to do it. We as kingdom citizens are also supposed to do that according to our mandate, why we are here. So we are a new breed of world changers. We think differently. We have solutions. We don't offend people. We attract people, especially the spiritually poor. They will be coming to you. But if your mannerisms, your speech, your dress is religious, nobody wants religion. Because as we all know, religion is the #1 problem in the world. It creates the mess we are in from day one. Every war fought was over a religious issue. So this, we have to understand, we are not part of a religion. We don't think like religion. We don't look like religion. I'll never forget, I had a good friend of mine bring a friend in from somewhere else, and they came and stayed at the hotel for 2 or 3 days, and his friend had, oh my goodness, had the big gold cross on, very flashy, and you could spot the guy a mile away. And then we went to lunch with them, and the guy was loud in the restaurant, asking me questions. When did Jesus first impact your life? Or when did you see the light? And he was so loud, and I was just, oh my gosh, I wanted to run. So I know how people feel now, and people don't want religion. And thank goodness religion is not the solution or the answer, but the kingdom, a government. So we are a new breed of people. We understand rediscovering the kingdom, renewing our mind, going back to the original mindset that Adam had. Jesus came to show us what that looked like. Now, as a new breed, a new mentality, okay? When I say new, I mean in the original, renew, okay? We have to keep up with current events. We have to understand their problems. If we are to bring solutions, we have to be relevant to what is going on. I remember I brought my team over. We were flying over to the Bahamas, and I asked one person on the team, because we were on my plane, and I was saying it's nice, you know, we don't have to fly commercial today because of what happened even in the Sinai, what happened in Egypt last week. And she didn't have a clue what I was talking about. And I'm like, that happened like 5 days ago. You don't know what's going on, and it's been 5 days. So I'm teaching and training all of them, be up to speed on current events. You don't spend all your time watching them. You don't spend day and night, but just be aware. It's very important. Do a little research, do a little study, so you understand what's going on. Then it can be addressed by you when people ask. This is very important, okay? Now, the future world changers will be well-read and diverse in their society. So we cannot waste time watching frivolous shows all the time and all the sitcoms. And I mean, there's a lot of shows out there that are just, oh my gosh, they're horrific. Zombies everywhere, murder shows, I mean, just so much going on. So we are dangerous people. We are to transform society, but we cannot waste our time with nonsense. So this is very important that we understand the times, like the men of Issachar, and therefore we know what to do. Now, if we don't get involved, society will decay and ignorance will run rampant. This is what we're seeing happening. So it's time for everybody to be part of the solution. Hubert, would you like to interject here? I know we can't.
I would just add what you said. By the way, Moscow confirmed that the plane in Sinai was shut down by the terrorists. So now it's confirmed. They finally accepted it. So it's very important for us, kingdom citizens, to be aware of what's going on. You know, I was doing some research on the attacks in Paris. there's something the media are not saying. Do you know what this group, this American group from California, the name of it? They are not putting that in media. The name of that group itself says, the name is Angel of Death. That is the name of the group. And I saw someone, the music that they were playing at the time of the attack. The media are not saying all of these things because I think, is that my?
No.
Oh, okay. The media are not saying those things because I think they don't want to bring light to what happened. Do you know what the song they are singing? They were singing the song saying, I saw the lyrics saying, I will kiss the devil and I will kiss him with my tongue or something like that. That was the music people who died were dancing on. And that, as a kingdom citizen, we have to understand, if we don't go after the system, the devil is after the system, and not only that, it's destroying the system. So we have to be aware of all of this, because as the ones who have light, we have to understand, if we don't act, if each and everyone doesn't discover his portion and assignment and do it, I'm telling you, the enemy is destroying people with the ignorance of what he's building himself. His group came in, did what they had to do, but all of these details, when I saw it, I said, why is the media even not mentioning the group that was saying? Because they don't want even to bring up the name. They don't want to bring up the name. They don't want to say all of these details, because as kingdom citizen, we have to be aware of what's going on in the world and then have a proper response to it. So I just wanted to bring that out because I saw it and it was very interesting for me. I said, wow, I didn't see that in the media. I was just doing some research on the internet, people posting all of that, and say, wow, this is crazy what's going on in the world.
Yeah, and as we know, there's a lot we won't see in the media. That's no surprise. This is a problem not only in third world nations, but also in industrialized states. We asked Katisha, who lives in France, we asked her while we were just having our conversation, what the atmosphere is like over there, since she's watching us right now. And her response, as some of you can see, is people here are very stressful. They're very afraid and angry all the time.
Wow.
So there's fear, there's stress, and they're angry. They don't know what to do. They don't feel protected by the government. The government's number one job is to protect the citizens, and they weren't protected. So they live in fear. And so through this, I think a lot of people will be seeking God, not religion, seeking answers. And we have to get our voice out. Like I stated in the very beginning of our session, the message of the kingdom must be taught, and then the end will come. We determine the end. I mean, the Bible's very clear. If he doesn't show up, we're going to obliterate ourselves. There's going to be nothing left. Everybody's going to be blown up. So I have an idea that has to do with nuclear wars. Everyone's just going to start nuking one another. So we don't, our response is not out of fear, but out of obligation to our mandate. So if you have not been diligent with cultivating your gifting and executing your vision, now's the time, okay? This should have been happening, all along. But if this doesn't get your attention, as well as Dr. Myles transitioning, then it should get your attention now. I don't think it's any coincidence that we have launched course 2 and 3 today, how to find your purpose, and course 3, how to document and execute your life vision. It's taken us since April to complete these courses. Of course, course 1 is identity, which is very important. Not only is this important for your life, but all of those people that you are supposed to be influencing. This is primarily what I do, is help people discover their purpose and primarily execute their vision, because there's a lot of people are hazy on that. So I've taken my life application through the mentorship program of Dr. Myles Munroe and what I was trained in, how I was trained to do it, and have helped hundreds of people do this also. And I love doing it because there is fruit in that. So I want to conclude here, we have a few minutes left, that true agents of change, kingdom citizens, are proactive. We initiate the change. Otherwise, we'll be reactive. I'm not reacting to anything. I have already been proactive for the past 5 years in my life vision. As time goes on, you become more refined as your vision grows and expands. So I'm not all of a sudden now doing something I haven't been doing before. So we are either agents of change or we're victims of it. And we're seeing on a worldwide scale, especially in France, they are feeling victimized. We saw this in New York at 9/11. We saw this, in Beirut last week. We see the Russian airliner from 2 weeks ago. They were victims. But agents of change, we are to initiate the change that we were born to do. So it's no longer an option. You must get busy in life. You must be active, whether it's in politics, management of morality, in the business sector, in the public school sector, in the youth, whatever it is, do something. And the world cannot heal itself. The world itself created its own problems. So we can't sit around and wait for the governments to do something. I mean, they're going to do whatever they can, but we already know what to do as kingdom citizens. You do your part. So I'm not stressed. I'm not worried. Oh my gosh, what should I do? Okay, listen, I already know what to do because I have my vision and I've been doing it. All I'm saying is execute your vision. If you haven't already, start doing it now, because you will give a mandate for what God has required of you. And as we know, as our mentor taught us, you're supposed to die empty. Get it all out. That is our goal. And Dr. Myles said, fools will multiply when the wise are quiet. All right, we have enough fools out there. We don't want them multiplying. So we need to be a voice. I can't be a voice in the nation you're at. Katisha, you are in France right now. You're the voice to France. Everybody is a voice where they are. Okay? So this is the key. Where you are now, what is the change that you're supposed to be bringing in your own sphere of influence according to your unique and valuable gifting? We need you wherever you are, but you have to do your part. God will do his. I'm a testimony. My life is a testimony. If I prepare and do what I was born to do, then God will do his part and make sure that he is blessing, in essence, what I'm doing, because then he is promoting it. And he is getting it in avenues I never dreamed of. And he is opening doors that I was like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. I never thought of that. But I have something to offer. I have something to give. So in essence, change is not an event, all right? It's a process. You have to keep this in mind. So while you're executing your vision, change is happening slowly but surely. And I have witnessed this in my own life and those that have been impacted by the vision, by my vision that God's given me. So therefore, I want to finish with this. And Hubert touched on this, and I could go to town on this. I'm going to put this up on the screen for you. The second key here. The key to kingdom success on the earth is planning and initiating change. You have to plan. Change doesn't happen haphazardly. I address this topic in the courses I am launching next month. I'll be launching 2 more courses next month to finalize level 1. But you must start now by planning. God gave you the ability, the creativity to plan. All right? This is very important. So you plan your way to change. It just doesn't happen overnight. We can sit here and talk about it, but it's your job to initiate it. But you have to know what you were born to initiate. Otherwise, you'll be toiling and you'll be high maintenance. And nobody got time for that. So, Hubert, I would like for you to We have 3 minutes left. Add anything before we finalize.
I think we will not stress enough on the time is now. The time is now for each and everyone among us to implement his vision. Even on my side, as Trista was saying, now the time to wait is over. Because if we don't do this, people we're supposed to help, people we're supposed to reach will be destroyed. And at the end of the day, we will be responsible because each and everyone has whatever you have, even if you think it's small, even if you think you don't know all. By the way, you never know all. God is not counting on you knowing all. He's just counting on us being ready and ready to pay the price to fulfill our assignment. So Trista said it, the time is now. If you haven't discovered yet your assignment, the course is there. Now you can't say, I don't know, because the information is available. All you can say now is, I don't want to know, because Trista did wonderful work. It's online, it's very well done. So if you haven't discovered yet, go online, take those courses. And if you have discovered, go out and do it. Trista was saying at the beginning, when she started, she was diligent in her work, and God now is opening doors of things she didn't even plan on. But because she did her part, because she did what she could do, then the king is obligated to open and do what she can do. So that's available to each and everyone. So it's time for us to stand and do our part. It's very important. The time is now.
The time is now. And I'm going to leave you with one last statement. Jesus said in Matthew 10:39, whoever finds their life will lose it. And whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. I have never seen this to be more true in my life in the past 2 years, where I have what I thought was a sacrificing, spending more time with my family, raising my children, whatever it is that I have sacrificed in my mind, in my life, for the vision, for what God's given me, I have found life. And he has given me everything necessary so I can manage and still be able to spend time that I was giving up in order to execute and accomplish the vision. Now, mind you, I have to manage like a crazy person, my time, the offices, the ministry, the hotel, everything we're doing, and my family. But I had to lose my own little world. I don't have the luxury of just coming home and hanging out, or even going to work from 9 to 5. We have 2 offices now. What we're doing here to train people, cover people, make disciples, mentor people. So we have our own office, and Debbie has dedicated her life to this as well. So I had to lose my own little world. And when I did, I found life. I know Debbie put a post on Facebook this week. It's been the most crazy, transformational year of my life, but now I'm living. And it's really true. So again, if you want to change the world, you have to lose your little world. But God says, don't think you've given up anything for me. I'll reward you 7 times in this age, in this life. So you truly become a slave to your gift. And I witnessed Dr. Myles Munroe do this whenever I traveled with him. Whenever he came to Naples, I saw him truly become a slave to his gift. When I saw him in action, I go, this is what it means to be a slave to your gift. That is what it takes. It takes abandonment and it takes dedication if you really want to make it count. So I just encourage you, I challenge you, lose your little world. Get where God is going. Get with the program and you will find life. That's what Jesus is saying. So thank you guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Most likely I will talk about how to truly impact in the marketplace and influence in the marketplace. One of my favorite sessions. I know I have a lot of favorite sessions. This is definitely one of my top 10 too, because it works. So thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Hubert, good seeing you. Well, we saw you for half of it.
Yeah. Okay, bye everybody. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.